What's up, everybody? Welcome back or welcome to the Protect Our Queens podcast presented by Basketball Society. You are not watching the wrong show. This is me. I do not have a goat mask or any other random shenanigans tonight. This will be a normal show, I promise. With me, as always, my guy, my brother in Christ, my partner in women's basketball crime, the founder of Basketball Society, Martin Sories, my guy. Happy Thursday.
What's up, Deacon Dwayne Marcus Talk Sports? That's the full version of your name. That's your government and your social name put together. Dwayne Anthony Marcus Talk Sports. It's Anthony, right? Didn't you tell me recently?
It is Anthony.
Yeah. Dwayne Anthony Marcus Talk Sports. What's up, my friend?
Oh my gosh. What's up, man?
Yeah. What's good, man? What's good? Back again. Yeah, we're live tonight. It's a Thursday night. Welcome to the Protect Our Queens podcast. Good to have you here. People who are here watching live with us, we appreciate you. If you're watching on the playback, surely do subscribe to the channel. If you love you some basketball, leave a comment down below on the videos, as I am the only person managing this channel who you'll be talking with. So you're not talking to like a bot or some random person. This is just all good old-fashioned organic hoops talk over here. But let us know where you're tuning in from, whether you're live or on the playback. We got some fun things to do tonight.
Yeah.
One thing might not be so fun to talk about, but the other thing is going to be a lot more fun, I'm sure.
Yeah, we are going to be talking about the WNBA CBA negotiations that are set to have a deadline of Halloween, so 15 days from tonight. And then we're going to, as promised, do our final top 10s for the season. The finals are over, and so Martin and I, for the last time this year, are going to do our top 10. I'm very excited. Excited.
Got to do it, man. We got to, things have changed. I realized I don't think much. I think there's only one player that changed mine. Looking back, I think there's only one that I had to get in there that wasn't in before, and then everyone else kind of just went down. There was a little movement. I had one move out of the top 5. I mean, you see my list, so you know. But
I was going to say, that's the funny thing is when we do like the top 10s, like I always see Martin's list because I have to put it on the graphic that comes up on the screen. But Martin never sees my lists usually beforehand. So my surprise is more like, I need to know why. His surprise is genuinely like, I didn't know that happened.
Yeah,
I just realized that today, and I was putting it together. I was like, Martin literally never knows what my lists are until I do them on the show.
Yeah, and I was thinking too earlier. I was like, I hope that doesn't compromise where you go with your list. I really hope that mine doesn't. I feel like you're usually good about having where you're going with it without my influence.
Usually, when I ask you for your list, it's because I just finished mine. It's like
I figured that's good.
I will say this though. When I did my list, I looked at your list just because I had to type it up on the graphic, and I realized I forgot a player. And that would not have the player I forgot. It would not have been good.
It was not a player you could have forgotten. Yeah,
I had no business forgetting. But we are here. We are here.
Yeah. Today also was some. Angel Reese is obviously on a heater right now, the Victoria's Secret thing, but what I'm really interested in is the fact that just today they announced that WNBA All-Star 2026 will be in the great city of Chicago. And we know that Angel's further tenure in Chicago may or may not be in question and up in the air. So I'm very interested by that selection, because that is assuming that Chicago is going to have their number one Barbie and marketing ploy in Angel Reese even playing for them next year, to just capitalize on that selection. You want star power in the cities that you choose. They just did Caitlin City. Now they're coming to Angel City. Hopefully that's still Angel City by next summer. We'll see.
You know where they're coming to next after that, right?
Where's that? DC?
They're coming to my city.
Protect our queens.
They told me Asia Wilson wasn't marketable, bro.
Do you practice this? Was this spur of the moment?
Is Juju Watkins better than Caitlin Clark? I feel like people have been saying that already.
I mean, there's the argument that she was the best point guard as a rookie last year.
I still think Arike's a better basketball player than Sabrina Ionescu is.
Napheesa Collier is unstoppable right now.
Maybe, just maybe, Napheesa Collier is breathing down her neck. Asia Wilson knows it too. I have no hardcore evidence that that's true. I just said it.
I didn't even know, bro. You do this thing where sometimes at the end of your sentence, you lower your volume. It's like a fade out. It's like you fade yourself out, like you edit yourself, your own audio as you speak. And so I don't even know what you said is the point.
I
I
said
don't
they
even
come
know
to
what.
my city next, is what I said.
Okay, DC, right? Okay, I said DC, and you talk about my. I didn't know what you even. It's like you're whispering. I'm like, Jesus, man, for someone
What's your effect?
who has such a pastoral deacon voice.
Oh my God.
Sometimes you sound like
one
a church
sermon
mouse.
one time, and now he won't let it go.
It's out there, man. It's out there for the
like I'm
public.
not doing another one next month. It's hilarious. All right, that's the WNBA CBA negotiations. As I mentioned at the top of the show, the October 31st deadline is fastly approaching. There's 15 days away, and there's reason to believe, for some people that we may or may not have a WNBA season next season. And I will be honest, I am one of those people. So let's toss it back to when Martin and I were on the show reacting to when Nafisa Collier went scorched earth on the WNBA and Kathy Engelbert. I'm convinced we're not going to see WNBA basketball in 2026. That was like when all this stuff first started. I said that on a number of different shows. This, I think, is nail in the coffin. I would be shocked if we see WNBA basketball in 2026. And you have to look at the bigger picture. I mean, to your point, right? This isn't just like, and Fee even mentioned it, right? Like, this wasn't a conversation about winning or losing, and this wasn't necessarily like because they lost the way that they lost to the Phoenix Mercury. I'm of the mindset that the Minnesota Lynx could have won the championship. She still would have showed up to her exit interview after winning a championship, after a parade, and had this exact same statement. Yeah, man. This is so interesting. I mean, even with, like, you texted me earlier about the lockout, and my response even in that instance was like, they're doing a lot. Like, you have to be really confident for the WNBA that you're going to see WNBA basketball next year if you're announcing this far in advance without a CBA being in place, where they're going to have All-Star next weekend. So if you take a look, we have on the screen here, this was a tweet courtesy of Underdog, quoting Andy Costable, who just listed some of the things that would mention the most recent proposal for the WNBA CBA. It mentions that the proposal did not include a supermax salary at or exceeding $1 million in the first year of the deal. The supermax is closer to $850,000, and the veteran minimum is around $300,000. The WNBA denied a fixed salary model not tied to league revenue. And again, an agreement on the new CBA is not expected to be reached by October 31st. Sides could agree to an extension, which is something that Commissioner Kathy Engelbert did reference in her press conference before game one of the WNBA finals. And it is important to note that her strained relationships are not just with players. Apparently it extends to team presidents and owners as well. That part, to me, is the part that I think is the most interesting. I mean, when she came out to announce the Finals MVP after Game 4, she got booed out of the building by the fans. Like, we knew that the fans weren't fond of her, really, after what Fee said. We knew the players weren't fond of her, current and former. You alluded to the fact that Elena Delle Donne had put on Instagram after Fee went scorched earth that she wasn't even sure if Kathy knew that she was even retired, right? But to know that this strained relationship also extends to team presidents and owners, it goes back to something that you were talking about when we had that conversation about, like, whether or not we're going to see Kathy even be the commissioner when this is all done. And if she's not the commissioner, who that person could be. It is going to be really, really interesting to see how this all unfolds over the next couple weeks and months.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this has got to be, I mean, of course, this is probably high priority, if not the top priority for Kathy and the owners. And I mean, this is high priority. So the more we've gotten away from the Fee scorching earth press conference, and I mean, I can't say for sure. I'm not staying too on top of what reports are or whatever. I don't know if Kathy's like job is really in jeopardy right now. I mean, I think that what Nafisa did is going to do what it can do, which is like it brought attention and awareness to the issue. And so now, I mean, Adam Silver had to comment on it, which, like, I'm sure that's not I mean, it's not good. It's not good for anybody, the kind of things that have been brought to light in terms of Kathy and WNBA leadership. So it's like I said when we reacted to it, like, she either just has to improve, or things are that detrimental where the players and whoever else is going to advocate to try to really get this woman to either step down or get fired. And I don't know how much closer we are to that per se. I know you had referenced the one report from, I think it was the Sports Business Journal that said that like she won't be the commissioner much longer. Again, I don't know like if that's really where we're headed or not, but she's got to get the CBA thing done the right way. For me, to me, by far the most compelling thing in terms of that information, the latest reporting from this is that the super max salary doesn't exceed past $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, even at whatever it's at, I'm sure maybe it's in like the high 800,000s or something. It's going to be significantly more. The max salary in the WNBA this season, I think, was like 250 grand. So it's gonna be higher. Like whatever they're proposing, it's already higher than what it's been. So progress is being made, but I mean, the players are fighting for a certain kind of situation, and it seems like on the other side, they're trying to establish. And I mean, I had a quote here from Yahoo Sports from an article put out a few days ago, with a quote from NECA and just like some details about like what the players are trying to get as far as the revenue share and what the other side is saying as far as what the percentage, like keeping it at like a fixed percentage. So, we're going to see, man. I it's going to be really interesting. Just it's all negotiation. Like, so we'll see if the players can settle on something that they feel like is reasonable for them. But I think the big challenge is that there's a lot of money coming in. It's been more challenged now to like people want to know where this money is coming from. Kyrie donated to the league. Where did it go? All this money is coming in, TV deals, TV rights. Like there's money coming in. And so again, like to see that the offer for the highest supermax isn't even past $1 million. It's like, come on, like get that to $1 million. Like how, like you can't get it there. Like to me, that's the biggest thing. It's like we should be talking M's at this point.
Yeah, I think. I mean, for me, as far as like I've said it to you. I said it on that. I mean, we showed the clip. I've said it to other friends or whatever. I don't know if we're going to see the WNBA play basketball this year or next year. And if we do, it's going to look a lot different. Like as far as I think it's going to be like really weird to see the WNBA play basketball next year, because something that I think is important to note is we're supposed to be having the Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo into the WNBA next year, which means we'll be having expansion drafts. And none of that stuff can happen until the CBA is agreed upon. So like my mind immediately goes to, well, if the CBA is not agreed upon, like Kathy mentioned before, how when she had first became a commissioner, she had joined right before or during the last CBA negotiation, and they got an extension to January, something like that, and they were able to make a deal, right? But if that happens, like, is that going to affect the timeline in which all the other stuff that's supposed to happen after that is supposed to happen? Because like free agency is usually around mid-January, time extends like mid-January to like mid-February or something like that, right? Like then you have expansion drafts, then you have the regular draft. Like I think my major concern at this point is, and again, all the signs are pointing to a negotiation, an agreement not being reached by the end of this month. My concern is if there is a delay, how is that going to affect next year's WNBA schedule when the existing schedule, when there's not a CBA deadline to meet, is already not great. Like we're already seeing players get hurt just because of the extensive nature of the schedule, with the games being on top of each other like this, with them not really getting much time in between games for rest and recuperation and things like that. Like there were a couple instances this season where we had teams like the Sparks or the Mystics, they play 6 or 7 games in a 10-day stretch and then not play the game for a week and then play another 6 to 7. So it's like if that's how it was this season when there wasn't a potential shortened season or lockout altogether, like I worry that the longer the negotiation goes, the less likely we are to see WNBA basketball next season. And if we do see WNBA basketball next season, even though the players are great and I think the talent is there, the basketball might not be great, and the quality of the basketball might not be what we're used to if the season is affected in any way. And as a consumer, for me, that is something that I'm concerned about, because like I want to see WNBA basketball, but I want to see good WNBA basketball next season, and I don't want this to take that away from me.
Yeah, one thing that crossed my mind is, it might be good for the league to have a lockout. The league might need this time off from the salaries getting changed around, new money coming in. There's new teams. There's a lot of new happening. Leadership at different levels seems to be called for, like revamping or something, or renewing, right? With the officiating, at all levels, it seems like there's going to be somewhat of an overhaul. Again, not to suggest that like Kathy and her constituents are going to be like losing their jobs or stepping down one at a time, but it does feel like we are going through a massive shift and change here, and maybe they need next season off to like just recuperate and get things in order and get ready for like this new phase of the WNBA that we're in. Because I don't think they've been prepared for how things have changed drastically. And we've been doing this show for 2 years. I've been talking to you about it from day one, about how things are about to change drastically. And they had already started just in the last 3 years, forget since COVID, just in the last 3 years, the product of basketball, the talent, the viewership, the money. I mean, it's all shifting drastically right before our eyes. So the WNBA needs some, they need some drastic adjustments to be made to start getting ready for this next phase. So maybe a lockout and some time off might do them some good.
Are you but with that, do you think there's any reason to be concerned about not just like the players that are coming out in 26, Lauren Betts, Tanaya Latson, and all of them, but like even the players who are going to be supposed to be coming out in 27, right? Your Maddie Bookers, your Audi Crookses, Henna Doggles, like all of those players, like what do you think that would look like for them? Because it's, you want obviously you want to see those girls come out and come into the WNBA and get paid because they deserve to get paid. But it's also like, well, if there's no WNBA basketball next year, like.
Well, fortunately, there's this thing called Unrivaled. And there are other leagues. Apparently, Candace Parker is part of some new league thing happening. I don't know if you've seen that story. There's another league developing. Candace Parker's an investor. They've got so I based on how things are going, it seems like there are other outlets being opened up, starting with Unrivaled and AU Sports Unlimited, like that league too. I mean, it seems to be a trend now where there's going to be more options offered and available than just the WNBA going forward. So we're still in the early phases of that, but at least that is happening, where the WNBA isn't the only place that these players can go to, continue the careers and continue to build on their names and their brands.
Yeah, that is a good point. That is a good point. It's going to be a really interesting thing to see. Again, like I said, like I know we all want to see basketball next year for WNBA, but I don't know if we will. I do want to switch gears here, jump into our top 10 players lists. But before we do that, we are going to take a break. And right after that break, we're going to get into those lists.
Basketball Society YouTube channel, Protect Our Queens podcast. Yes. I got what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about why they need to make more money. Because the WNBA chick took me out on a date, and I did not like it. She took me to Red Robin's. Think about going to Red Robin's, you getting the burger. That's all they got, bruh. There's no excitement in going to a Red Robin's. You getting a burger. She was on her way. She was like overseas hooping. She was bad. Yeah, I mean, we was chopping it. We was choppy. Word. And I remember we on that. She was like, no, I got it. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Listen, let me tell you something. The WNBA, the W, gotta pay them more. Gotta pay them more. They deserve more. Because they deserve to treat their dates a little bit better. The way I was treated was disrespectful. Disrespectful. No love, no coof for me. I mean, they need to make more money because they want to live on the wild side too. WNBA women deserve to make more money. They should not still be fighting to get that chicken. Can't even take a brother on a decent date. Had me in Red Robin while I was tearing them steak fries up. Yeah, man.
Have you ever been to Red Robin before?
I don't know if I actually ever had a meal at Red Robin.
I don't think I have either.
I've rode past, I feel like, plenty on road trips and stuff, and you see him on the highway stops. Like,
where are they? I don't think I've laid eyes on a red route.
That's the only place I think I've seen him is like on highway stops, on road trips. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's out on the highway, exit stops, rest stops. You know, that's where you find him. Yeah.
Oh my god, you guys got to go on Instagram and follow Dejan or watch this video on. And we had to chop it down a little bit for the sake of getting it to fit into the stream right here. But you guys have to go on Instagram and watch the full. It's like 2 minutes or some change. It's a funny video. He's great. I remember when Martin sent me the first couple that we've done. Got me every single time. Got me every single time. That was good. Let's switch gears now. Let's talk about our top 10s. As we're going through our top 10 lists, by the way, please feel free to let us know who your top 10 players are in the WNBA. If you have any agreements, any disagreements, and things of that nature. The last time we talked about our top 10s, Martin did allude to the fact during that conversation that there might be some movement. There might be a little bit of adjustments. And in fact, last week when we had Dan on the show, he pointed out something very specific that I want to show you guys just before we kind of jump into the conversation here.
I'm eager to hear about the top 10 stuff because with the way that the Liberty season ended, I wonder how much of a shakeup is going to be there with both of y'all in particular. What were the implications of that? Can we really drop Stewie all that much when she had a sprained MCL? There's also a world
It
where
was the best player on the floor with one leg. Best player on the floor with one leg. In case you weren't here the last time we did our top 10s, these were our top 10s during that time. Mine is on the left, Martin's is on the right. You can see there's a lot of similarities there. There are a lot of players who are similar for the most part. There are some minor differences, but for the most part, we have pretty identical top 10 lists. We're going to get into our top 10s now that the series, or now that the finals is over, now that the season is over. Martin, do you want to talk about your top 10 first, or do you want to do mine first since you haven't seen mine?
You know, I'll play this quick clip of what I said about Stewie and the fluctuation, and then we can go into your list first. Let's do that. Stewie last night solidified why she's still a top 10 player, which is good for both of our lists. We're going to redo our top 10s. We just did our latest top 10s at the end of the regular season, but we're going to do it again after the season is over, after the finals. And I'll just say there's already been movement. things have already changed as a result of some performances and so forth. So there will have to be some movement. Good. Oh, no, yeah. People need to go down. People need to be taken off, who need to come back in. So, but that's why I bring up Stewie, because she validated why she's still a top, at the very least, a top 10, maybe still a top 5 player just in that game 3 performance last night. So obviously that was that was the day after the Liberty got eliminated by Phoenix, and Breanna Stewart put on a performance in a loss that still reminded us of how great she was. She was fighting tooth and nail, sprained her MCL, and goes for a monster game in that game 3, even though they lost. I mean, she reminded us of who she is, who she still is.
Yeah. So let's get into it. I'll do mine first. My top 10 players are as follows. Obviously, I have Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collar, and Alyssa Thomas at 1, 2, and 3. That is exactly what I had last time we did this. I've got. Oh, this is.
I'm like, hold on.
List.
I'm like, hold on.
Hold on a second. This is the wrong list. Let me go get the right one. Let me go grab the right one.
Yeah, I figured.
You do yours. Let me go grab the right top 10.
So yeah, I Breanna Stewart had to get back, not just in my top 5, but in my top 3. That last game, and you know, that's the crazy thing about like playoffs and stuff. It's just like even though her last game was a loss, and you know, the Liberty got eliminated as the defending champs, you know, out in the first round to Phoenix. That game 3 reminded us who Stewie is, and reminded us that she is a top 5 player. Now for me, I had to, a couple years ago, Asia Fee Stewie was kind of like the solidified top 3. It was right there. And Alyssa Thomas has been like kind of right there outside of the top 3. This season it was very much about Asia Fee and AT in the MVP race and everything like that. So I did have AT drop for me outside of the top 5. We did have the conversation about AT on the show the other night with Dan and about like, will she ever win a ring? Some of the limitations with her game, which is like well known. It's not like we didn't know it, but I moved her right. I moved AT right outside the top 5 because for me, I feel like I would have needed to see her win, but at least put up a fight. I mean, at least win a game in the finals, but really just have a better chance at winning that series for me to like be more comfortable about AT still in my top 5. I just think the way that Phoenix lost, the way that AT kind of looked, the way they lost, like, I mean, again, look at the difference between how Stewie looked in their loss, how AT looked in their loss. I was able to, move Stewie back up into the top 3, but the way AT looked in their loss, I just had to drop her a little bit. So she's outside the top 5 for me now. The rest pretty much stayed the same. It's like I said, so in my top 5 is now Jackie Young. And I think that is, I would assume you probably have her there as well, honestly, because the way she finished the season, she finished the season as the top guard in the league. That is Jackie Young's role, even though she didn't finish the regular season as first team all WNBA, right? She finished the season as the champion and as the best guard, the best looking guard in the league. So, and Jackie Young in that form is not just to me top 10. That's I told you, that's to me the best Jackie Young we've seen. It's the best Jackie Young I've seen. I won't speak for anyone else. No, that version of her isn't just top 10. She's top 5 to me. So to finish out the season, the way things closed out, I'm slotting Jackie Young right into that top 5 for me. And then everyone else, again, AT moved down. I kept Kelsey Mitchell at 5. I moved her into my top 5 at the end of the regular season. And then AT is in my second half. And then everyone else moved down. Alicia Gray, Paige Beckers, John Quell. I was a little iffy on John Quell, but I wanted to give her that respect. But I was wrestling with it. But I still hold her in high regard. I know she was a little banged up this season. So yeah, let's move over to your list. Let's see what.
I don't have the correct top 5 here. Here we go. Asia Nafisa Alyssa Thomas is my top 3 still. Jackie Young should have been 4. Kelsey Mitchell is in my top 5 now. When we did this last, I had left Kelsey Mitchell right outside because my rationalization was I still felt that Jonquel Jones and Breonna Stewart were good enough when the time they played before the playoffs to be in the top 10 and the top 5, excuse me. I had made a point to mention that I still thought that Jonquel Jones was still the best player in New York. And then Breonna Stewart dropped 30 in a closeout game on one leg and reminded me that I was wrong about that. So when we get to our best and worst takes eventually, that take should probably be in there because boy, was I wrong about Jonquel Jones and Breonna Stewart. Breonna Stewart is 6 for me. I did drop her out of my top 5 for no reason other than between the combination of what Jackie Young did in the postseason and also just what Kelsey Mitchell did in the postseason as well. I was very adamant that I did not think that the Fever would win a series without Caitlin Clark. I didn't think they'd win one with her, but I definitely didn't think they'd win one without her just because of how much she meant to their offense. And I almost, in a way, I kind of feel like I kind of disrespected Kelsey Mitchell in that sense because she was an all WNBA guard this year. She was one of the 3 best guards in the WNBA this season. She got MVP votes. She was an MVP finalist. Like she deserved that love. And again, as I alluded to on the pod last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago when it was just you and I, we were kind of jumping in after game 2 of the finals. Like for Kelsey Mitchell to play as great as she did and play until her body literally just said, I can't take it anymore. That definitely shows top 5 player to me. Alicia Gray is 7. Nneka Ogwumike, again, it's kind of funny. When we were reacting, when we did the top 10 at the beginning of the season, we were reacting to ESPN's top 10. and ESPN, I believe, had Nneka at like in the top 10 or like somewhere like 12 or 15 or something like that. And I had just kind of said, like, I'm not sure that Nneka at this point in her career can consistently be a top 10 player. And then she went on to score double-digit points in all but 4 games and have a top 10 season, and prove me wrong. So there's that. Kalia Copper is back in my top 10. I feel like even though I was critical of her postseason performance, especially in that series against the Liberty, I did, after going back and kind of looking at a couple of the games and kind of really sitting down and thinking about it, I did think she did what she needed to do with given what her role was. I mean, I texted you at the end of game 3 when Satu had to go out because of the concussion, how all of a sudden Kalia Copper just goes on a run by herself, like just completely comes alive, and just kind of reminded us all who she was. Paige Beckers is number 10. She is at the end. Jonko Jones and Sabrina Ionescu are completely out of my top 10. The way that series against Phoenix ended, I just left a sour taste in my mouth, I think.
Yeah.
Especially compared to, like, look at what Alyssa Thomas did. You look at what Satu did. Like, Satu, I thought I was really wrestling whether or not I should put Satu in at 10. But between her not being able to finish the season due to the concussion and also just she was streaky in the postseason, I just felt like I couldn't justifiably, like 100% put her in there.
Yeah.
I did also have, I believe, Ryan Howard in my top 10 or towards the end. It was kind of like the same thing. I thought she played okay in that first round series against Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think if she would have played better, the Dream would have made it past the Fever in that series.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was at. But this is my final top 10. And you can tell because I fixed it and then forgot to upload the new one that Jackie Young is the player that when I was doing it quickly this morning before the kid this morning, I had forgot to put her in there. And then I looked at it and I realized I had forgot her. But she's a top 5 player. And I will say one conversation always comes up, and I do want to get your thoughts on this because I know you have an affinity for guards, having been a guard yourself. One thing I know that always comes up a lot when it comes like the WNBA is how often, especially in this new generation of WNBA talent coming in, like how likely is it that we'll see a guard win MVP?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like aside from the obvious ones, right, like Caitlin and Paige, that everyone is just like expecting to win an MVP at some point. I feel like Jackie Young is like, I feel like Jackie Young is probably also on there as a player who could win MVP. She likely will never win MVP as long as she's playing alongside A'ja Wilson, because A'ja Wilson, as we talked about last week, is going to be a top 5 player for the next 5 to 6 years, and there's really nothing we can do about that. But Jackie Young this postseason, just, I mean, bro, like, forget going back to how she's playing in 2023. Like, she looked better this postseason than she looked in 2023. And 2023 was the best season of her career. That was the year that she was almost a 50-40-90 player. That was what fueled me to say that I thought she was going to be 50-40-90 this season. And she looked great this year. I mean, I made the comparison to her and D Wade. You had mentioned that she needed to go on an 06 D Wade run. Jackie Young is the real deal. I think she's going to be a mainstay in the top 5, definitely in the top 10 for the next couple years if she continues to play the way that we just saw her play en route to a championship this season.
Yeah, I mean, I MVP of the league, even if she wasn't playing with A'ja, it's still the same challenge of like a guard becoming MVP. Sure. So, you know, that same challenge would exist were she not playing with A'ja, because A'ja would still exist. So, I mean, I wonder if Jackie Young, for me, it's just mentality for a player like that. I don't know if that's where her mentality is. If her mentality is like, okay, now I know, and they know that I can be looked at as the best guard in this league. Now I want to prove that that's actually what I am and be a first team all WNBA. Like if that's where her mentality is, then maybe she will be one of the guards competing for an MVP in the near future. Let's put the list back up so we can unpack a little bit more. So one of the questions I think we should also get into here is some honorable mentions, or not even honorable mention, but more so, which players would you maybe expect to see or think might have a chance to be in our top 10s, you know, as we get into next season? Or who do you think will, you know, who's not on this list, who might be a worthy top 10 talent or who could find their way into being a top 10 player next year.
I think Arike is a notable omission just because of the injuries. Like she didn't play much this season, but if I'm not mistaken, I know she was in my top 10 either at the beginning of the season or the one we did before the beginning of the season. Arike is one of them. Just to put Jeremy's comment back up here because he dropped a couple of them. I think
it's a good list. I like that list, Jeremy. I like Kayla McBride being in there. I like the Kayla McBride love. That's good. I like that.
You know how much I love Rickea Jackson. I think Rickea Jackson will be a top 10 player next year.
I had her name down as really a potential. I think it's possible that she might need to, again, another mentality thing. That team might need her to be playing and working like a top 10 player. It might be time for her to overseed Kelsey Plum in the rankings of talent on that team. That might be what they need.
And my last one is actually nice that Skeptical Football Fan has dropped on here. Aaliyah Boston. I think Aaliyah Boston will be a top 10 player next year as well.
She has that potential.
I think she has that potential. I mean, we talked about it when I was comparing how she looked with Caitlin Clark to how she looked with Kelsey Mitchell. When those 13 games she was with Caitlin, she looked really, really good. Not that she didn't look good when Caitlin was out, because she did, but it was just like a different level. And I think Aaliyah Boston this season, especially in that series against Asia, and you and I kind of talk about this, and I would love, you know what I'd love to do actually? I would love to get Dan back on at some point so that the three of us can talk about who Asia Wilson's rival are and kind of pick up that conversation that you and I had in regards to Aaliyah Boston. I think that series showed us, that Fever Aces series showed us that Aaliyah Boston has top 10 potential, but she also has the ability to hang with the best of them. Like, if she can hold her own against Asia, she can hold her own against Fee. She can hold her own against Elizabeth Thomas. Like, Asia's the measuring stick. And I think Aaliyah Boston is left that Fever Aces series with a lot of confidence, feeling really good about herself, feeling really good about how she played. And I think she's going to hold on to that and take it into next season. And I think she could very well end up on one, if not both of our lists by the time we do this time next year, for sure.
You know who I had told you that for me, because I had asked you, like, if you had to put someone on to women's basketball, if you had to pick a WNBA player or a couple players to show or introduce to someone to show them an entertaining style of play, like, yo, you are gonna like not just like dominance or skill, but just like more so entertainment. Like, which players would you, players with a bag, or players that are flashy, or players that just play the game in a way that would make it entertaining for someone who either doesn't like women's basketball or doesn't have any experience watching. My answer to you was Chelsea Gray. And, Chelsea Gray is just so good, bro, that at one point I would have no problem putting Chelsea Gray at 10 for me over Sabrina. I told you I was iffy on Jonquel. Like, I like that you included Ka in there. I think NECA did have a top 10 regular season. So I like the NECA love as well. But man, Chelsea Gray could have easily been in there for me at 9 and 10. I feel like she's at the point where she's going to kick up, more so in the postseason. Yeah. So it may not be like a top 10 whole body of work season. But man, when you just talk like, who do you want running your team? I would take Chelsea Gray. Look, right now, I'm not, Paige Beckers is better than Chelsea Gray. But right now, I would pick Chelsea Gray to run my team, run my championship team. Yeah. And listen, if you give Paige a team like the Aces, I'm sure she'll do some winning too. So I'm not saying again, I know Paige is better than Chelsea Gray right now. That's not what I'm saying. It's as a point guard in terms of winning and playing the game a certain way and getting them I just wanted to put that out there because I always want to just make it known, like, Chelsea Gray is one of the best players in the league, even if we don't put her on a top 10 list. I had Rickea's name down too. I don't know why you're running from the Caitlin Clark thing unless you really just don't think she could be top 10 next season. But if Caitlin's coming back healthy, she should be in that conversation. Kelsey Plum and Ryan Howard as well. I think Kelsey Plum and Ryan Howard are two players that are going to be in the top 15 squarely, but are always going to be kind of fighting for Like, I mean, I think KP is an example of one who could easily be in a top 10. I could see her being in some people's top 10s, right? But I think her and Ryan Howard are two examples of like now like having to make it more known. Like this year, Alicia Gray had a top 10 seed. Alicia Gray is, she made it known. That's why she was first team all W, right? So, yeah, but I mean, the first name I have is, I mean, if Caitlin's coming back healthy, I mean, she's a name that is in the top 10 when she's been healthy. So we know she barely played this year. So that obviously hurt her case.
You know who else is going to be a top 10 player next year? Angel Reese. No matter where she plays, she's going to be a top 10 player next year. I am fully convinced of that. I put out a video earlier this year on Instagram just saying how I thought she'd be top 15 by the end of the season. I think, in my opinion, she proved that she was a top 15 player in the league. I think she will take the next step, whatever that is, whether that's in Chicago or somewhere else, and be a top 10 player. If she does get traded to Chicago, I think that would help that even more.
You think she finished top 15 this season?
I think if I look back and I thought about the players at the 15 best, yeah, I would say so.
You think so? I feel like top 20. I think I might have to go to 20. I don't, because we've got 10 here. We just named several. Yeah. Well, a couple names we named, got hurt, whatever. But like, yeah, still think we got a little ways to go to make that definitive. She's in there. I think. I mean, you're right. I think of the players that we both named, like Ryan Howard's in there. I mean, Jonquil and Sabrina were in my top 10. They didn't completely fall out my top 15. I think she is Kelsey Plum. I mean, you're gonna.
She's in the bucket. She's in that bucket of top 15 players. I think I'm excited, regardless of what happens with her, as far as like whether she gets traded from Chicago or stays in Chicago. I'm excited to see what year 3 of Angel Reese is, because she made improvements this season. I think she's going to continue to make those improvements. She picked up a lot of things, I think, from Unrivaled. She picked up some things from her time with Lisa Leslie while she was at Unrivaled. I think she even picked up things along the course of the season, just like as she was growing and learning. Like, she had a rough start to the season. Everyone's ready to, like, get on her. And then she turned around and had an exceptional, not even back half. She had like an exceptional, like, last 75% of the season before she ended up, before the end of the season just kind of ended all funky because of the stuff she said and all that other nonsense and the back injury and all that. But I have high hopes for Angel Reese next year, which I know you don't think as much of a prime, because I always have high hopes for Angel, but I especially have high hopes for Angel.
I have high hopes for her too, but yeah, I don't think I have high hopes for her. Your high hopes equate to her being top 10. I think to be as by the time high hopes.
I think by the time we get to the All-Star break next year in her city, I think she'll still be in Chicago. By the time we get to July 25th, 2026, I think Angel Reese will be a top 15 player in the WNBA.
Yeah, I don't think that's unrealistic or far-fetched. I don't.
Yeah. Is there anyone who thinks going to fall out of this, do you think?
What's up?
Do you think there's anyone on this list that might fall out of this list by this time next year?
Well, I don't think NECA is going to hold up for you, just based on her age. And maybe, again, we can't keep putting stuff past her. So who knows? She's an age of wonder at this point. So maybe she comes, but I could see that dropping off. I want to see how Ka comes into next season. She's kind of one of those players that I feel like you just still feel guilty for not respecting her the very first time we did this. And you were the one
guilty.
Yeah, you were the one who said I scolded you for not having Kalia Copper in the top 10. Yeah, but I wasn't scolding. I was just letting you know that you were wrong, that you should have had her in there. And I feel like now you're just making up. You saw her play a couple good games in the finals, and now you're like, oh
no, I think
I'll do it.
No, man, I look, I was wrong. I'm able to admit when I was wrong, but that doesn't have any bearing on like where we're at now. I mean, she finished the season strong. I think we agree that we just talked about it with Dan the other night. I don't think Phoenix used her like a top 10 player. So that's where that's fair. That's not on her, but she looked really good, but like I said before, with her mentality, like she's so talented that like if she's looking to prove to people she's a top 10 player, we'll know it. Like it'll be so, there will be no debate. So I want to see how she would come into next season.
Anyone else coming off? Like I said, I mean, bro, Sabrina, Jonquel, on my end at 9 and 10, like I said, I was kind of iffy on those. I still feel like Sabrina's a top 10 player. Honestly, I think Sabrina's still a top 10 player.
Okay.
Like, I could see her.
She answered your big question,
someone.
so I get it. She answered your big question.
Yeah. I mean, she had a really good year, man. She didn't finish great. That series against Phoenix, she really didn't look great. But she, I mean, she had some moment. She wasn't able to like take over like you would want to see like a top level elite guard do. But I could see Sabrina falling to an 11 or 12 on someone's list. I could see her being outside the top 10. But I think in terms of what she can still do, with the ball in her hands and the progressions that she made this season, I think she still squarely falls in top 10 player in the WNBA territory for now. Yeah. So who's a better defender, Jackie or Kalia Copper? Those are the two-way guard, maestros right there for sure. Said for you, it's Copper. I don't know, man. It might
Jackie.
It might depend on the matchup. I think I saw Kalia Copper really struggle this, but I shout out to Ka, by the way. I'm going to give a shout out to my guy, Brother Maul, who's if you know, he does exceptional recovery and body work, black yoga, drop your shoulders. He's a good one in the practice, and he was in Phoenix every game working with Kalia. He's connected to Rutgers players, so Kalia went to Rutgers. They have that connection even from when she was in college, but she had him out in Phoenix and Vegas for every game, had his table out in the hotel room, getting that good stretch for Ka. So there's a reason why she was moving and looking good out there. So shout out to Brother Maul. But I saw Kalia really, I told you at the start of the playoffs, I felt like she looked a little like off, not great. But as things went on, like I said, shout out to Brother Maul, she just looked better and better, moving better, shooting better, right? I feel like she got better and better. But to this specifically with defending, she had a hard time guarding Courtney Williams in that Minnesota series. And Courtney Williams is a handful, and most people have a hard time with her speed and her decisiveness. Like, she's very crafty, but man, I felt like I didn't see Ka really like strapping like we know that she can defensively in this postseason. So for right now, I'm going to go Jackie on that. I think Jackie, when you talk two-way, Jackie struggled with Kelsey Mitchell. That's another player that many people struggle with as well. So, but yeah, no, I think on offense and defense, I mean, look, I don't know if we can say like we saw Jackie like strapping people, like even to this point, like, she didn't lock down Kelsey Mitchell, right? I mean, we know Ka and Jackie are two really good defenders, but listen, everyone can get cooked. You go up against someone who's that good offensively, you're going to have a hard time. So, but to that point, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we saw either of them really like, play lockdown defense, like strap people really like we know they can. I think we saw Jackie really take that leap offensively this postseason, and that was more so the story.
Africa Rising says, if Angel is not a top 15 player, is Caitlin a top 15 player? Yes, because Caitlin is better than Angel.
Yeah. So, no, when healthy, like at their best when healthy. I mean, I had Caitlin in my top 10 after her rookie year. Like I had Caitlin top 10 coming into
Caitlin didn't just have Angel. Jesus Christ, Martin didn't just have Caitlin in his top 10 coming into the season. He had her
in the top 5. Was her 4? I had her at 4, right? Number 4. I had her in my top 5 coming into the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is still absurd to me. But
absurd?
Yes, that's absurd, bro.
Absurd?
That is absurd.
I don't think that's the right adjective you're looking for. Absurd would be like having
asinine.
Courtney Vandersloot in the top 5. The asinine is having Dominique Malunga as the top 5 player right now. That would be asinine. You can't have a player who broke 800,000 records as a rookie in the WNBA as top
I
5.
put Angel ninth on a top 10 once, and they won in my head on a stick, and she broke all kinds of records her rookie season.
She didn't, sure, but we both know it wasn't anywhere close to as many as what Caitlin broke. So don't act like it was.
I know. That's a good point. Follow up is Angel Reese was injured this year too. Well, Caitlin played 13 games. Angel played like 30. So
yeah, and neither of them are on our top 10. So I mean, the Angel Caitlin thing isn't that relevant to what we're talking about. I know it came up when we just said. I mean, but yeah, this year we don't have either of that. These are our top 10s right here at the end of the year. So
Jeremy threw Veronica Burton in as an honorable mention for his top 10.
That's good. She should be honorable mentioned. I think right now she's objectively a top 15 player, honestly. Based on her season this year, Veronica Burton
was really good this year.
Top 15 to 20 player, easy. Top 20 for sure. She had that kind of season.
There's definitely there's no way to know this right now, obviously, because the teams aren't there. And this is my last question before we go. Sorry. There's no way to know this right now because we haven't actually had the expansion draft. But do you imagine that we'll see a player either in Toronto or in Portland kind of have a season similar to what Veronica Burton had this year?
Yeah, for sure. There's too many good players, man. There's too many good players. So there's tons of examples of players that could capitalize on that kind of opportunity, being on an expansion team, fresh opportunities, fresh system. Tons of players could capitalize in that way. Not to say anyone can do it or replicate what Veronica Burton did, but there's enough talent where players can emerge in that kind of situation for sure.
And shout out to Mark Schindler. We had him on the show once
a while ago, man. That feels like
it was ages ago. Was in that first year of Protect Queens. He is he's got a big time role with the Toronto Tempo now. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. We appreciate you guys for sticking with us tonight and watching on this glorious Friday Eve on Thursday night. If you are not already, please make sure you are subscribed to Basketball Society on YouTube. Martin Sories does an exceptional job of not just being a co-host on Protect Our Queens, but of pulling out our segments, re-uploading them onto YouTube, and making sure that there is a healthy circulation of content on the YouTube page. After all, it is his YouTube page. So
indeed,
run a YouTube page. Talk to Martin Sories about it because he's got you.
Only if you can afford me. I got enough to work. Got enough to do. But thanks for the plug, man.
What am I? It's not a shameless plug. When you're finished, make sure you are tapped in with us. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes of the pod. And so for my guy, Martin Sories, founder of Basketball Society, this is Marcus of the Protect Our Queens podcast signing off. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, you enjoy yourselves some women's basketball.